Money in your 20s isn't about getting rich. It's about getting smart. See, some of us chase wealth and some of us chase freedom. But at the end of the day, money is just an enabler. Money should fund your life, not control your whole life. And that's what I want to go into today. So welcome back to the Post School Podcast. We got another solo ep today all about money and your 20s, because I think that this is a topic that doesn't get enough attention online, and it's definitely not something that's taught in school. I feel like we leave school and the expectation is that we should be earning a full-time income as soon as possible so that we could move out and get on with our lives. But I've got a different approach to this topic, and that's kind of what I want to introduce today. And whether or not you agree with me is totally up to you. You're allowed to have your opinion. But after a few years away and seeing many, many different ways of earning money, I've come up with my own framework for what I think wealth is, how to build it, how we should use it, and what that looks like in your 20s. So I think the place to start with a topic this large is this idea of success. And I've spoken about it before on the podcast. There's an episode 4, which was all about sort of comparison and success. And if you are struggling with comparing yourself to others and what success looks like for you, then I'd recommend going to give that episode a listen. But I think when it comes to money, this idea of success is so different for every person. And we're really used to defining success in a blanket way. Throughout school, success was you get through the year, you pass your exams, you move on to the next year. And we all did that together as one big cohort, not just at your school, but across the whole state and the whole country. And it was very much in terms of ages, and success was defined in such a clear and linear way. But after school and in our 20s, we learn that success looks different for every single person. And you start to get a bit of that in the later years of school, but it's not until your 20s that people really become their own person and start to go down their own path. And I think when we look at money, it's so easy to look at someone else's version of success and then compare our own version of success against that. Now, for some, success does look like going to uni straight after high school and graduating and getting a really high-paying job, and then moving out and saving lots of money and driving a nice car and being able to afford expensive things. But for other people, success looks like being able to travel the world and have new experiences and meet new people. And for other people, success is simply just trying to figure out what they don't want to do in life. See, some people don't actually figure out what they want to do until much later in their 20s or their 30s or their 40s or even their 50s, even later. So it's really important to grasp this concept that before you can look at money in your 20s as this blanket one definition fits all, it's really important to understand what your idea of success looks like, and then you can start to build your own concept of how money fits into that idea of success. And I think off the back of this idea that money is just a thing that we should be building as much as we can of, comes this really unhealthy relationship. We think, or most people in our 20s are either hemorrhaging money or hoarding money. They're either spending every paycheck that they earn, or they're not spending a cent because they want to keep building and building and building. But my idea of money, and I guess this is where I differ to a lot of people, is that money is just an enabler. It's what enables you to do things. It's important to build your wealth and save for the future. But if you're not actually going to use that wealth and use the hard work that you've put in to enable the things that you want to do in life, then what's the point? So I guess that brings it back to the main point of identifying what success looks like for you. Because once you know what success looks like and what's going to make you happy, then you can see how the wealth picture fits into that idea of success. If we just spend our 20s spending all of our money, we get to the end of our 20s and wish that we'd spent more time building. But on the flip side of that, if we just spend our 20s saving all of our money, we'll get to the end of our 20s and wish that we'd spent more. So what I've realized with money, and the important mindset shift to make, is that money shouldn't control your life. It's important to have your goals and understand how money fits into those goals, but use that money to enable the things that you want. Once you've saved for the trip, go on the trip and spend that money guilt-free. I think the biggest way to shift your mindset here is to create the systems. And this is what I'm going to be talking about later in the episode. Because once you've systemized your money and systemized your income and know where everything's going before it goes there without even a thought, then you can start to rebuild this relationship with money as a healthy enabler and the thing that's going to bring you towards your goals and fulfill you in a way that money can, as opposed to control you in a way that money also can. So I just touched on this idea of the tension between living for now and saving for later. And it's something that I've thought about a lot, especially in the last 12 months, is almost like, what is the point of life? What is the meaning here? And I think what I've landed on is that everything is about balance. And I know it's a cliche term, it's thrown out there all the time, but it's the same with your money. There's a balance to be found between living now and saving for later. And I think, like I said before, it's really important that once you have the means to do something that you know is going to make you happy and feel more fulfilled or progress towards the future version of yourself that you want to progress towards, it's important that you are able to do those things guilt-free. And I think that's where the relationship with money is really important, because once you understand that some of the money I'm making now, I'm going to enjoy now, and some of the money I'm making now, I'm going to save for later. And once you find that balance, the relationship becomes a lot healthier. It's really important to work towards your future money goals, because that's what's going to set you up for an easier future. And I fully believe that you should spend time putting money aside and investing that into your future, because I think especially in our 20s, it's easy to struggle with money. We don't have anything yet. We don't have any assets. We don't have massive savings behind us. We're just starting to build all that. But later on in life, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, especially into your older age, you're going to have a lot more behind you. That only comes if you actually spend the time to build that up. But in saying that, you have so long to build that up. And I think it's really important to start today. But what's not as important is just how much you're saving for the future. I think that's the part that many people get wrong. It's either, I'm just going to spend it all now because fuck it, why not? Or I'm going to save everything because if I don't, I'm going to have nothing in the future. Where what you'll find when you actually start breaking things down in terms of numbers and systems is that you can save bits of your income today and set yourself up for an incredible future and an early retirement without sacrificing what you're actually doing today and spending today and having fun on today. And I think the idea of, not spending on your morning coffee every day because you want to save pennies, that's not really something that I subscribe to, because I think the focus should be more on maximizing your earning potential. And this is what I want to talk about today, your 20s being the period of your life for growth and building your earning potential, as opposed to being the period of your life where you should just be saving every dollar you make. In my opinion, it compounds much quicker for you to put all of your effort into your earning potential so that in the future you could be earning $100, $200 an hour, as opposed to saving your $12 per hour wage now because you don't want to buy a coffee. The person who's earning $12 per hour for the rest of their life is not going to perform as well as the person who goes from earning $10 an hour to $50 to $100 an hour in their 30s. So the question then becomes, how do we go about saving for the future and spending for today? That's the hardest thing to figure out. And the way that I've solved this is through systems. So I'm going to break down for you what my money system is. And this could change in the future, but for right now, this works really well for me, because I know that for every dollar I make, a portion of that is being spent today on the stuff that I want to do. A portion of that is being saved. A portion of that is being invested. And a portion of that is going towards some bigger goal or aspiration that I have in the near future. So the first thing I do on a monthly basis when I get paid is a portion of that goes to my fixed expenses. So that's things like rent, some of the loans that I have, and any bills that I know are going to come up during the month, my car insurance, stuff like that. And then once my fixed expenses are looked after, I have this pool of capital that's left over. And the first portion of that goes towards what I call a More Life fund. And I got this idea, the name of it, from my mate Noki. More life. I love that concept because we should be enjoying our life and we should be doing it guilt-free. So the More Life fund is a bank account that I have in a separate bank. So I get paid into CommBank. All my money goes into the one CommBank bank account. I spend my money on the fixed expenses within that account first, and then I transfer a portion of that over to my More Life fund, which is an ING bank account, a high interest bank account. And that money compounds month on month. So I'm getting paid interest into that account, but I'm also adding to it every month. And that account is for things like a trip away with some friends, or a date night, or having fun on the weekend, going out for a few drinks. The thing that you want to do sporadically because it's fun and we enjoy doing these things, but you want to be able to do it without feeling guilty or without putting your other goals behind. So now we've gone from my income, a portion to fixed expenses, a portion to More Life, and then the next account I've got is my emergency fund. And this is for things like your car breaking down, a family member living in a different state getting sick, so you're gonna have to buy a plane ticket and travel there to see them. Things that inevitably are gonna happen in life that we don't have any control over, but is really important that we are prepared for, because these are the sorts of things that can wreck you financially if you're not ready for it. So a portion of my monthly income goes straight into that account. I don't even think about it. It's all automated. That's also a separate bank account within my ING account, high interest. This is the sort of thing that hopefully you're not touching for months or even years at a time, so that interest can really compound, and I'm adding a portion of my income every month to that account as well. So now I've got fixed expenses, I've got More Life, fun, I've got my emergency account, and then another portion of my income goes towards investing. So this is investing for my future. And that, for me at the moment, is spread across shares, crypto, and saving for a house deposit, an investment property deposit, I should say. The first property I buy isn't going to be a property that I live in. It's going to be an investment property, because that is an investment for me, and that's the way that I see my capital growing faster long term. And I can do that because I know that I've got this other money to have fun and enjoy my life now and travel and do the things that I want to do. So fixed expenses, More Life, emergency, investing. The investment part right now it's automated as well. So whenever I get paid, a portion of that is sent to my shares brokerage account, a portion of that is sent to my crypto wallet, and a portion of that is put into my high interest savings account for the investment property in the future. Now, those are the systems that I've put in place so that every single time I get paid, it happens automatically. The money that is sent into my bank account on, say, the first of the month is then split and sent into my other bank accounts on the 4th or the 5th of the month, just to give myself a bit of leeway if payday is a little bit late. And I don't even think about it. I don't even have to look at it. And once you've got this system in place, it is so much easier to work towards your goals and just focus on the things that you want to focus on in life, as opposed to being controlled by your bank account. You don't have to look at your bank accounts every day. But in saying that, I think as a young person, it's really important to know where your money is going. So the other thing that I do in my 20s, the other thing that I just do in life, is I've got a spreadsheet that lists all of my expenses. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about the one-off, everyday random expenses like buying lunch here or there, but especially the subscriptions and the recurring expenses that I know are going to happen quite a few times during a month, like petrol. Those are all listed in a spreadsheet. So I know every month how much of my income is going to go towards these things. What could I cut down? What could I keep in there? What do I like? And it's just really important to know where your money's going, because that's going to give you a better idea of where you can cut things out and how you can move towards your goals quicker. The fastest way to be stressed out by money is to not know where your money is going on a monthly basis. So actually, I forgot to mention, in and amongst all of those accounts in my system, there's still some left over. So I'm not actually allocating every single dollar to one of those bank accounts. I pretty much allocate 70% of that to the accounts, and then there's 30% left over that I just leave in my everyday spending account. And that can just be for anything like daily lunches, going to the groceries, one-offs, whatever you'd like. But knowing that the money that I've earned has already been allocated, and I've given those dollars specific jobs already for investing, for More Life, and for my emergency fund, I can do the rest guilt-free. Whatever's left in my everyday spending, I can spend all of it if I want, because I know that I've already saved for my future and invested for my future, and I'm allowed to live now fully guilt-free. So the question you might be asking is, how do you come up with your own system? How have I come up with my system? And this is where it comes back to what I said at the very beginning of this episode. It all comes down to your goals and your idea of success. So it's really important to map out what the next 10 years of your financial life should look like, or what you want it to look like. And understand that that's probably going to change along that time, but without having at least some faint goalposts, it's really hard to know where to aim. So the way that I've sort of broken this down is in 2 to 3 year sprints. My personal goal is to be able to retire at 35. And what I mean by that is not necessarily I want to stop working at 35, but it means by 35, I want to have the right systems in place and the right financial backing in terms of assets and investments, so that if I didn't want to work tomorrow, I wouldn't have to. I know that I'm going to be making money anyway through my investments, or I could at least seek out the job that I want to work without having to worry about the salary, because it's not going to make a material difference to my future. So to get to that retirement by 35, I've essentially mapped out this 5-phase timeline from the age I am now, 24, all the way to that period of my life, hitting 35, mid-30s, and hopefully ready to smash the rest of my future. Now, the first phase that I'm in right now, from the age of 18 to 26, is what I call capital stacking and skills mastery. And it goes back to what I was saying before. That phase, especially the first half of your 20s, should be all about upskilling, increasing your knowledge, getting smarter, learning as much as you can about the world, about finance, about business, so that your earning potential increases. This should be the sole purpose of your early 20s, is just stacking as many memories and experiences as you can, because that's what's going to give you the best base to go off when you actually enter that job market for real and continue evolving in that sense. The person who finds a job, gets comfortable, and stays at that level between the age of 22 to 30 is going to be so much worse off than the person who just tried as much as they possibly could, experimented, failed a bunch of times, and got to 30, not earning a whole lot of money, but with a shitload of experience, to then increase their earning potential and start earning significant amounts of money in their 30s and building that wealth. So that's phase one. And I'm nearing not necessarily the end of that phase in terms of I'm going to stop learning, but my goal is to be buying my first investment property by the age of 26. So I've got 2 years to do that. So phase two for me is first property and scaling. And what I mean by that is I'm still going to be upskilling and still learning and growing. But I'm hoping by 26 that I've got enough capital to get into the property market as an investment and start building my leveraged asset portfolio. What I mean by that, if you don't know what leverage is, it's essentially where a bank will give you money to build your asset portfolio. So if you think of a mortgage, when you buy a property, you might put $100,000 down for $1 million property. You've now leveraged that 90% because they've loaned you $900,000. You've bought a property worth $1 million. If that property goes up by 10%, it's going up by $100,000. You've actually doubled your money. You only put $100,000 in. So leverage is an incredible tool to grow your wealth, but you need the place to start. You need to be able to actually get into that market. So my goal for phase two, which is sort of 26 to 28, is to get into the property market with my first investment property and start building that leveraged asset portfolio. And to do that, like I've just explained, I've got these systems in place. So all the money that I'm making is being split between my different bank accounts, and a portion of that is going towards that deposit for an investment property. Now, at the same time, throughout all of these phases, I'm still going to be growing my shares portfolio, my crypto portfolio, my emergency account, and my more life fund. And then it just comes down to, if you want to reach those goals quicker. So for me, if I look at the investment property, if I want to reach my investment property goal quicker, then I have to cut back on the money that I'm putting into some of the other accounts, or I need to be earning more money, which could mean working more hours or upskilling so that my earning potential goes from $20 an hour to $30 an hour. So the goal for me, 26, I want to buy that first investment property. The way that I've got my system set up now means that if I continue increasing my income between now and then, which I'm on track to do, I will have the right amount of money flowing into those accounts so that by 26, I'll be ready to buy that first investment property. And then phase 3, once I've got that first property, is portfolio growth. So this is sort of age 28 to 31. And this is a period where I will hopefully have an investment property, a sizable share portfolio, and sizable crypto portfolio. And my goal here would be to exponentially increase those things. So at this point, once you've been investing for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you really start to see compounding come into effect. I might be able to take the equity from my first investment property and purchase a second investment property. I should have enough capital in my shares portfolio, my crypto portfolio, with dividends to see that start compounding and really growing month on month. And this will be the phase of my life where my net worth really starts to pick up some momentum and starts to grow in a significant way. And on top of all of that, I'll still be adding my monthly income portions to all of the different accounts as well. And then after that, phase 4 is sort of this passive scaling. So it's not so much about aggressive scaling anymore. I should be, at this point, I should have a couple investment properties, a decent share portfolio and crypto portfolio, and then I start to dial back the risk that I'm taking. So now it becomes about preservation as opposed to really high growth. By this point, I should have the right account set up so that I'm earning a decent dividend from my shares each month. The goal by this point would be to be earning around 8% per annum from my shares. Property growth, call that around 12%. And then hopefully, because it's investment property, you've got rental income coming off the back of that. So all of the systems will be set up so that the capital can continue growing, but I'm being paid for the capital that I've already got invested. At a young age, in our 20s, when we don't have much money, it's really important to focus on compounding, because the reinvestment of anything that you are earning is what's going to allow your capital to grow at a much faster rate. Whereas if you take what you're earning, say you got 20K in an account and you're earning 5%, it's really not going to make that much of a difference to your life if you're taking the cash and spending it. But once you get to that point where you've got a few $100,000 in assets or more, that earning potential on a yearly basis has the ability to really compound your accounts and start to affect your everyday life if you wanted to start taking some cash out of that. And then phase 5, which is where I sort of hit that 35 age and I've got a few mil worth of assets, is to test this idea of semi-retirement. What am I earning on a yearly basis from my investments? And that would be from investment property rental returns, which the mortgages should have been paid off by now, and then also my shares portfolio and crypto portfolio. It would be much more diversified. So right now I've sort of structured that to be high risk. Crypto is very high risk, and none of this is financial advice, by the way, of course. Crypto is quite a high risk investment. I'm investing in it now because I see the potential for growth. But at 35, when I've got millions to manage and I don't want to lose it all, I'm going to be much more conservative in the way that I've invested. So at that 35 time, it's about where is this money coming from? Rental income, dividends, and how can I adjust my assets so that I can maintain and continue to grow that income on a yearly basis? The idea of retirement and true freedom comes from you knowing that you're getting paid regardless of what you do today. And that happens by owning wealth generating assets or income generating assets. And those are things such as property, shares, because you own a company and your capital within that company allows the company to operate. So the company pays you a dividend or a share of profits. I'm not going to get too technical in this episode. I'm sure there are so many questions that you have about a lot of the stuff that I've mentioned. I've actually got a mini series on this that I did with my business partner, Matt Brown. And that was all about finances and sort of the 101 of managing your own money and personal finance. So if you want to go listen to that, it explains so much of what I've just talked about. But the idea today is to show you the importance of having a plan in place and a system that allows you to automate your money. Because I think the biggest stress for us in our 20s is knowing that we don't have a lot of money, we're not earning a lot of money, and we're worried that we're not going to be able to create the future that we want to create. Where I believe that small actions now, but consistently, can create the life that you want to create. It's not about doing massive things at one time. And this is why waiting is a killer, because so many of us wait for the right time and wait to earn the perfect amount of money or more money before we do anything. But the idea that setting up the right systems now, regardless of whether you're earning $100 a week or $1,000 a week or 10K a week, that's what's going to allow you to scale with time. Because inevitably, as we grow and evolve as people and continue this journey of learning, we're going to increase our earning potential. And there's going to be years that we're earning a lot of money. There might be years that we're not earning much money at all. But having the systems in place allow those to continue working regardless of whether we're not earning much or we're earning a shitload of money. So now I want to quickly touch on, some practical takeaways and some lessons that I've learned with my own money. Some things that I got right, some things that I maybe haven't got right, but am working on now. So some of the things that I think I've done a good job of so far is this idea of focusing on skills and multiple income streams. I think it can be not dangerous, but there's a lot of reliance if you only have one income stream, because if you lose that, you lose all of your income. So I think it's really important, especially in this digital age, to build multiple income streams. That could be through a personal brand, selling digital products online, having one main job and maybe a little side job, something that is going to allow you to not be completely reliant on one income stream. I think that's really important. And the way to get there is by upskilling and learning and having new experiences and continue building this wealth of knowledge that we have inside of our brains so that we can actually capitalize and turn that into an income. And then on the flip side of that, something that I think I have been working on and need to continue working on is this idea of chasing society's version of success. I think I had this idea in my head that by 24 I'd made my first million. I'm nowhere near that. But that's because I got the degree and then I chose not to use the degree that would maybe get me to that million, but instead chase a life of experiences. I moved to Bali, met some incredible people, had some great experiences, built businesses, and that has been incredibly fulfilling and taught me so much. But I sacrificed society's idea of wealth and riches so that I could get rich in my own experience. So I think I have to be much easier on myself at the idea that I'm on my own path and I'll reach my goals when I reach them. But it's still important to have that roadmap and work towards goals, knowing that they may change, but without the plan, you're going to be driving kind of blind. And the other side of that is I definitely spend a bit of time overworking on things that aren't really moving the needle. So when it comes to earning potential and making money, I think it's really important to focus on the things that are really going to drive the needle forward. And in saying that, don't spend so much time doing things you don't want to do. There is so many potential outcomes for you and things that you could spend so much time focusing on that it's really important to continue skilling in the areas that you want to skill in and the things that you are interested in. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to change direction. And that's what our 20s should be about. The last thing you want is to spend your 20s doing something that you hate to then get to 30 and finally make a change when you should have made it at 22, 23 when you first thought about doing it. Because now you've got 7 or 8 years in the bank of shit that you really didn't enjoy doing and not a whole lot of growth. And you've sort of got to make that time back. Not necessarily make that time back. Everyone's on their own journey, but you're going to hit that point and wish you did it sooner because now you feel like you've wasted those years. And the one thing money can't do is buy health or buy back your time. That was 2 things. The 2 things money can't do is buy health or buy back your time. So as soon as you think, I want to pivot here, please pivot. Do it with a plan. Have some good conversations with people that you trust and who have your best interests at heart. But do it. Please do it, especially in your 20s when your responsibilities are quite minimal. Okay, so what are some actionable takeaways for this episode? The first one is to build a system. I'm not a big believer in building a budget. I don't think that you need to know where every single dollar is spent ahead of time, but I think it's important to know at the end of the month, where did all my money go? And then create a system that's going to stop so much money from leaking out in areas that you don't want it to leak out, or allow yourself to spend guilt-free on the things that you want to spend because you know how much money you've got left and the rest of it has been given a job and it's gone towards more life, emergency, investing. That, for me, is the most practical takeaway from this episode. Create a system and automate it so that when you get paid, you don't have to think. Your money just goes to work for you. And then the second takeaway, especially in your 20s, practice stacking skills over assets. It's not as crucial to be buying assets right now, and I say that with a grain of salt because we still want to be investing and getting onto that investment journey, but focus more on the skills that you're stacking and the experiences that you're having and the growth that you're pursuing, because I think being able to stretch yourself and your future is the fastest way to compound your earning potential and your wealth in the future. And then the last one is to balance your passions, understand what lights you up, and be able to spend on those things guilt-free. So that obviously comes from having a system, but it also comes from knowing who you are and what you want to pursue. The ability to use money as an enabler is crucial because at the end of the day, when we die, we're going to the grave with nothing. Our money's not coming with us. It's not doing anything for us in there. So it's really important that you use the money you're making to enable you to do the things that you want to do. Now for the community segment of this week's episode. And the question that I want to answer this week is, what's the best investment you can make in your 20s? I'm going to give you the most cliche answer that you've seen everywhere, but it is so true. Invest in you. You are the person who can earn more money in the future. You are the person who can increase your earning potential and go from $20 to $30 to $40 to $100 an hour. If you are spending all your time investing only in the paycheck, that will cap out at a certain point and you will no longer have the ability to earn more and more. The quickest way to build wealth is to earn more money, not save more money. So invest in yourself in your 20s, whether it's through new experiences, learning through education, books, podcasts, a new job that's going to stretch you and scares the shit out of you, but you know it's going to help you grow. Or building your network. Spend time investing in your network. Go and have good conversations with people you look up to. Get in the rooms with people that you didn't think you could get in a room with and have good conversations. Offer them value. Invite them on a podcast. Show them a podcast. Tell them about something that you're thinking about or working on. Create a network with people around you who are better than you because that's the quickest way to level up in life. And in saying that, this isn't really a financial piece of advice. Invest in your relationships with people who care about you because it's also really important to have the right frame of mind as we go through life in order to continue building the life that we want to build. If we're unhappy, we're more likely to spend money on things we don't really need or don't want to spend on, and we're not going to be as motivated to work hard to pursue our goals. So, people in your life that light you up, invest in those people. Start building them up. Spend the time to understand where they're at and help them, and they will do the same for you, and it will make you happier as a result. Now, this episode is getting a little longer than I would like. Obviously, I've got a lot to say on the personal finance front, and I hope it's been really valuable. But I guess the main point that I want to drive across here is that your 20s should be a time of exploration and growth. It's not about having it all. We don't have to get to 30 and have countless houses and investment properties and cars and money in the bank. The goal in our 20s is to figure out what actually matters. And yes, money is a tool to help you figure those things out, but you have to actually use it in that way. You have to use it as an enabler. You have to have new experiences and challenge yourself to try new things. Like I said, the goal is to upskill and increase our earning potential for the future while we spend time thinking about that future and having the systems in place so that the money we are earning now is being put to good use for the future, but also being put to good use in the present. And that's the key concept that I want you to take away from today. It's not about how much you're earning right now. It's about what you're doing to set yourself up for an easier future. And the way to do that is by building a strong system that fits in with whatever you're earning, whether it's $20, $2,000, it doesn't matter. As long as you've got systems in place with portions allocated to future you and present you, you're going to be okay. And finally, a quick life update. So the book, still in process with the publisher, waiting for them to get back to me with their thoughts on the latest updated chapter. Hopefully that will be in the next week or two, and then we can start moving on that again. Still super excited. Can't wait for it to be out there. If you do want to contribute, that link is still live in all of my bios, so you can go in there, tell me your thoughts on the concept of the book and what you'd like to see in it, as well as some of the things that you're struggling with in your 20s. And in other news, I got a job. I'm working for a boss again. After 3 years of no boss, I have a job and I'm really excited. The company is Drink Hyro. It's a hydration startup here in Manly, an incredible team. It's an environment that as soon as I walked into the office, it just lit me up, and it's something that I'm really, really excited to get involved with and help build. I think the mission is great. I think the product and the branding and the marketing, which is obviously something that I'm interested in, is incredible, and I'm just really excited to be part of the team. So first day tomorrow, watch this space. If you haven't tried Hyro yet, check it out. Drink Hyro on Instagram, drinkhyro.com online. They are changing the game, and I'm super excited to get involved with that. What else? That's pretty much it. I'm just looking forward to that. Still writing the book, still kicking the podcast away, and hopefully these episodes are bringing value to you. I want to hear about your money stories. So send me a DM. What's the toughest part about money in your 20s that you're struggling with at the moment? And I want to feature some of them in next week's episode. That's all for today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and see you next week.